You know, I could get used to this Zoom thing. I'm telling you, because I can have all these guests, but I'm not going to waste the time. We have a lot to talk about, and we don't have much time left. So I'm trying to think of, is there something you want people to really know about what these folks are doing and what you need to hear? Ed Gainey, I'm starting with you.
So I just want to remind people, even when they say we're coming out of this COVID virus and you see things beginning to open up, just remember the virus is not gone. So we should remember to wear our masks and our gloves. It may not stop it, but it helps prevent it. And at the end, the only thing we want to do is save lives and keep our community safe. Wear the mask and gloves.
DeWitt, Walton.
Well, thanks, Lynn, for having us. And I want to thank you for multiple reasons. First and foremost, to have us here demonstrates that there is a collaborative effort going on to try to empower, protect, and educate and engage minority communities in broader, more comprehensive ways than has been done historically. And also to make sure that their privileges and opportunities are not minimized. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your leadership. And first and foremost, and again, everybody, stay safe. Stay safe. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your community.
Indeed, stay safe. And yeah, let's go to Fred Brown, the Forbes Fund.
Well, we're excited to be on the show, Lynn. Thanks for having us. I think, as mentioned before, this is not going to get resolved by dealing with one thing. We're suggesting that we deal with a number of things concurrently, and the COVID virus is allowing us to pinpoint and target an initial activity. I think Reverend Burgess also alluded to something I'm very sensitive to is there's been a lot of resources galvanized to respond to the issue right now, but there's a post-COVID reality. What does that look like for Black, brown, and poor communities? And how do we ensure that they're participatory in Pittsburgh's new arc as a result of how we come out of this? And so what do we need to do? What do we need to learn? Who do we need to partner with to create unity so that the entire region rises?
Indeed. Reverend Ricky Burgess.
You're on mute, Rick.
We'll get him off of mute. We'll get Reverend Burgess, we'll get you off of mute. Let's go to Daniel Lavelle in the meantime.
So I'll pick up where Fred left off. And I forget who said it, but there's an old saying, never let a crisis go to waste. And I actually think we have an opportunity now, especially within those marginalized communities, to really begin to look at the resources coming out of the federal government, look at the resources that will come through the state down to the city, and be very intentional to direct those resources to those in greatest need. Say, as we come out of this, as we try to manage this for the next year or so, that we're going to do so with an intentional lens on equity. Both myself and Reverend Burgess are working on legislation. You may recall we recently introduced legislation to create a commission on racial equity within the city of Pittsburgh. Well, we want the first work of that commission to be a subcommittee on a COVID response with an equitable lens. And so we'll begin working on that immediately.
Indeed. All right, Reverend Burgess, you ready now?
I'm ready now. I'm sorry. First of all, thank you for having us. Second of all, we are resilient people. We will come out of this and we will continue to work. I just want people to realize that the work never stops. The idea is that we are God's people and we are anointed, but we have to work at rebuilding our communities. Our traditional African-American communities must be transformed from neighborhoods of concentrated poverty into stable mixed income neighborhoods. And this crisis will subside, and we'll go back to the work of rebuilding communities together as united people.
I am torn. I'm going to end with Jake Wheatley. I'm going to go to Dr. Conti next. Dr. Conti.
So as we work on the community level and the political level to address any inequities with COVID, I want patients to make sure that they are empowered for their own health. They have the capability of washing hands and they have the capability of using masks. And so take your health into your own hands as we work on the other side to address any inequities.
And real quick, Dr. Conti, before I move on to Jake for the final thought here, because I know so many people in the community are concerned about testing. There is an effort afoot to get more testing into the community. So we just kind of need folks to hang in there. The testing's coming.
The testing is coming. We are working on it diligently.
Okay. All right. And Jake, I'm going to circle back to you now. And I know that the testing is something that you guys collectively have been working on. Let me get you to first address that and then your closing thought.
Sure. I mean, there's federal money that's coming to the state for testing. I think our reality is making sure that those tests get distributed in an equitable way, which we believe should be an emphasis on those communities that are most likely to be impacted because of what Fred talked about earlier, those other underlying issues that we know make us more susceptible to being not only infected, but be the sickest and many times die from more often than others. So we think those testing, the way they roll out that strategy should be informed by the communities of color. I want to thank you. I want to thank the members. I want to thank Dr. Conti and Fred and other partners. I also want to thank our other members who aren't here tonight, Representative Summer Lee, County Councilwoman Liv Bennett, and State Rep Austin Davis, because together we are making sure that none of our citizens get left behind.
Well, and you know what, Jake, on that note, I think it's important to establish that we don't see this that often. We don't see this collective of Black elected officials. So I want to thank you guys for doing this, for stepping up and doing it. And I noticed that, I feel like you've all kind of made it real clear. We need to do this on a regular basis. So I'll just go out on a limb and say, we need to do this on a regular. Get you all together on the show and let folks know what's going on, because a lot of times the public doesn't know, they don't see you all together. So now that I got you all here, can I get you to commit to do this on a regular so we can just stay connected with the community and they know what's going on?
We can just pick out a regular day once a month and make
Absolutely.
it happen, man. We're all for that.
All right.
Absolutely.
There you go. Okay, y'all heard it. So hit me up if you feel like we don't do it often enough. And, maybe next time we'll let you know in advance when we're going to do it. You can send us some questions. That teletown hall meeting y'all did the other day was awesome. It was all that. So maybe we can do something like that. I really like it. We can talk about that later. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, I'll come back and wrap all this up. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Indeed. All good stuff.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. We'll be right back with closing thoughts. Don't go away. Well, I tell you what, I feel like there are so many different angles to this COVID-19 that we have to keep talking about it on this show. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So, the other part of doing this from home and doing it on Zoom is I have earpieces that fall out and all that other kind of stuff. But that's not what's important. What's important is that we are educated, that we know everything that we need to know. And I tell you what, it was awesome seeing those elected officials working with our public officials and our community to keep us informed. And next week, I'm not sure, maybe we're going to do the helpers or the economics of this. There's so many different angles, but bottom line is this: let me know what you want to know. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, let me know what you want to know and we'll talk about it. I'll see you next week. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you, and I thank you for your continued support. And guess what? We will get through this. We'll see you next week.